Technology has transformed the landscape under today's car bonnet. This complex jungle of sophisticated electronics may seem intimidating, but to the trained eye, there's just one vital component to keep the systems and the competition for parts, accessories, service and repairs in balance. That component is information. Free-flowing, accurate technical data, which is critical to keeping this country's vehicle fleet safe, clean and efficient. But it seems information from vehicle manufacturers is not always forthcoming. Some make it easy for independent aftermarket businesses to access vital technical manuals, update bulletins, software patches and equipment. Many vehicle manufacturers do not make it easy. So the technology playing field isn't level, and in the future customers will have less choice about who carries out their repairs and which parts are used.
Australia's got 15 million vehicles out there now and it's growing, and in terms of the consumer, this right of access to information will enable them to get cheaper servicing and lower the cost of servicing these vehicles.
Every year, Australia's 15 million vehicle owners spend a staggering $8 billion on parts and services. And what concerns the independent parts service and repair industry is that much of this cost could be higher than it should be. If vehicle parts, service and repairs are too costly, motorists may not be able to afford to keep their vehicles in safe, fuel-efficient, environmentally sound, roadworthy condition.
If you think about introducing a higher level of competition into a marketplace, so independent repairers as well as dealership repairers, all fairly competing for your, my and everyone else who owns a car, fairly competing for their business, I think it's likely that, and even in today's climate, that an independent workshop is able to complete that work on a vehicle at slightly lower rates than the dealerships are. And I suppose they will want to prove to the consumer that they can complete that work to a sufficient standard at a lower cost, but not actually compromising any of the safety or quality elements on the vehicle itself.
Technology on vehicles of today is moving ahead at breakneck speed, and whilst it's difficult for the independent repairers now to access the information, and they do it via a range of sources overseas, through networks and linkages, there's information brokers, etc. What we're seeing is that this technology advancement is resulting in it being harder and harder. So going forward, we think it will be difficult or impossible for many repairers to even perform the most basic services on vehicles without that access to technical and diagnostic information. What that creates is a technology monopoly for the vehicle manufacturers and forcing the consumers to go to the dealers who can set their own price.
The way we're trending here is that these car manufacturers will have a monopoly over the servicing of these cars just by the technical information. And even though the Trade Practices Act says that we can service the cars as long as we follow the manuals and guidelines as set by the manufacturer, it will be irrelevant because we can't get access to what the actual manufacturer wants us to do to those cars.
In Australia, there is no clear requirement for this vital technical information to be made available to the independent aftermarket. And if it is difficult for the aftermarket now, it will be even harder in future as vehicles become more dependent on technology. This means the motoring public will pay the price if there is increasingly less competition between independent aftermarket parts suppliers and workshops and the vehicle makers' dealer networks. That unfair playing field is the focus of a national campaign being launched by the Australian Automotive Aftermarket Association.
Fundamentally, the Choice of Repairer campaign is all about ensuring that the consumer can choose who repairs their vehicle and what parts are used. After all, it's their vehicle.
I think the choice of repair is fundamentally about an individual's choice to have work completed on their car where they choose to have work completed on their car, and as long as the work being completed is of the right standard using the right parts. That's really, I think, the essence of the Choice to Repair campaign.
The clear aim of the Choice of Repairer campaign is to eliminate technical or legal barriers that limit the consumer's basic right to choose who services their vehicle and which parts are used. The campaign is modelled on similar successful initiatives in the USA and Europe and will initially involve engaging key industry and consumer groups in the issue. Stage 2 will see a major awareness campaign targeting consumers, the industry and regulators. A steering committee of independent aftermarket parts manufacturers, repair chains, importers and resellers is responsible for rolling out the campaign.
My company has access to a lot of data overseas, and because of our resources in our company, we can send people on a plane and go pick up training manuals from Europe and from America to work out how to fix these cars, and we spend a lot of time and money on that. However, for the independent aftermarket, for the guy working in a workshop in Footscray or in Marrickville, he doesn't have access to that information or that money to be able to do that as a group. And that's the frightening part. And whilst my company with its 250 stores can afford to support that network and do all that, the independent guy can't.
Choice of repairer is an issue that is especially relevant in regional centres and when vehicles age past their statutory warranty period. The campaign will also address the growing practice of dealers signing customers to so-called extended warranties, which have restrictive provisions and tie customers to long-term service schedules with the dealer. We believe many of these contracts provide little benefits additional to the consumer's basic statutory rights.
The ACCC is very clear on the point about servicing vehicles and their impact on warranty. They've publicly stated that if you repair a vehicle in accordance with the manufacturer's specifications, using qualified technicians and parts that are fit for purpose, then regardless of the repairer that you choose, your new car statutory warranty will not be impacted at all.
It's estimated that over a 10-year period, a vehicle will require service and repairs equalling 1.5 times the original purchase price. Without effective competition, that multiple may be much higher in the future. The Choice of Repairer initiative will fight for fair competition in the parts, accessories and repair market in Australia, and is the first step in giving real freedom of choice back to the customer.
It's critical for the aftermarket, it's critical for the consumer, it's critical for competition, and I can see the warning signs mounting on the horizon there, and it's starting to mount, it's starting to occur, and I'm very fearful of the ramifications of what I see in the future for that market.
Choice of Repairer campaign is all about making sure that there are no technical or legal impediments to free and open competition. What that does is make sure that independent repairers and their suppliers can stay in business and continue to provide high quality, cost effective services to motorists all around Australia.